because Serie B is it's a wild league and a lot of things go on. So
it's a wild league. Well said. And I'm sure we'll have a lot of. We're gonna laugh a lot about our predictions.
Guaranteed to be wrong. Let's just
absolutely 100%.
Cittadella are the only team in Veneto for this season because Vicenza failed to get promoted. Venezia went up to Serie A.
I would be happy with Canarese and Reggiana being last and second to last. We are going to be touching upon each and every one of the teams on the league, so stay with us, interact with us, and together we're going to be speaking Serie B. Roma! Welcome to another episode of Speaking Serie B. A lot has happened in this 16th round of the league, and for what it counts, we made history. You know that I'm supporting Spezia, of course, and the co-host of this program, 𝐏𝐫𝐞-𝐑𝐨𝐮𝐧𝐝, supports Cittadella, so the two teams played against each other this weekend. So we're going to be touching upon all the teams, but we're going to be spending a few minutes talking about the team of the game of our two teams. So without further ado, let me introduce the co-host of Speaking Serie B, 𝐏𝐫𝐞-𝐑𝐨𝐮𝐧𝐝 of Città Calcio USA. Jake, thank you for being here with us.
Yeah, thank you, Elia. Welcome back. Unfortunate because, well, both of our teams really made history, but one of it being for the good side of history, and the other one being another record defeat for Cittadella. So it's definitely both teams going in different directions, but at the end of the day, it's all about just supporting your team every weekend. Doesn't as long as you're supporting it, doesn't really matter the result. But yeah, it's like I said in the live after the game with you, it's definitely a difficult moment for Cittadella. But, at the other hand, I am happy to see Spezia doing well because, I do have a soft spot for them.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much. And, we talked about it. I wish you well, and you'll most likely be able to turn things around. We both predicted a win for Spezia in light of the condition of both teams in the previous episode of Speaking Serie B, but honestly, I did not foresaw a win with so many goals, 5-0. We talked about it with a few friends of mine in different groups, and we don't recall a win by 5 goals with 0 goals scored by the opponent. There was a 5-1 in 2018, Spezia Pro Vercelli, and before that, in 1988, Spezia Venezia, that probably was the only other 5-0, and one 5-1 with Cosenza, but that's about it. So I know that before this match, even with Sassuolo 6-1 was the other time that this year Cittadella really struggled, conceding a lot of goals. So I'm sorry for this difficult moment.
No, it's okay. It's just like you just said, this is a tied for the record defeat for Cittadella, as you know. Like I said, or like you said, Cittadella losing 6-1 to Sassuolo earlier in October, which eventually led to Eduardo Guarini losing his job. And that was the heaviest defeat in club history. No, they have never lost by 5 or more goals. And in this game, they lost by 5 goals. So it's really 2 records broken. It seems like this year they're breaking records left and right, but whether it's, the home record, 15 games without a home win, that's the longest in club history. The record defeat. Now it is. I actually discovered that in club professional history. So by the time they were in Serie B, Serie C1, like that's what they used to do. This is actually the worst start for Cittadella after 16 games. They have never had they've never had 13 points or less at this point of the season. So, I mean, technically they should have 14, which they have had 14 points in some other seasons, but, we're going by the book here, and currently the standings say 13 points. and they have 13 points right now. So yeah, it's another really damaging blow. I was actually also doing some more research yesterday. It was like the fact that 𝐏𝐵𝐞 had more points at this stage of the season last year, and you know how that ended. They finished last place. And
and 𝐏𝐵𝐞 started very strong last year, though, compared to what the expectations were. So
they did. Actually, they did start kind of bad. They only had like 1 point after a few games,
but then they caught up. Yes,
they started to get some rhythm kind of towards that this season, and then right after the new year, kind of like 𝐶ittadella, they just plummeted. So,
it doesn't. It says something, but it doesn't say the whole story. I remember when Spezia was in Serie A, Benevento did a very good first half of the league, and then he got relegated. And after being relegated to Serie B, he went to Lega Pro immediately. So this is, we always say, the only certainty of Serie B is its unpredictability. So hopefully the market section of December, the winter market, will allow you to will arrive in your support and will allow you to turn things around. We saw already Elio Capradossi, that we both predicted would have started in the starting 11 with Spezia at the Alberto Pico. He only played the last few minutes, but he almost scored. He was almost he wasn't able to hit the ball, but he had an occasion to at least score il gol della bandiera, the flag, what would have been the goal of the flag, basically. That's how we Italian. So we'll see.
He's still, I think he's still kind of recovering from fitness. Remember, he hasn't really played week in, week out since like April. So he's still, I think, kind of getting back into rhythm. That's another thing that 𝐶ittadella has had right now, is kind of a injury crisis, definitely in the back line, because Pavan has been out. Angeli, who is disqualified for this round. You got you guys in the midfield like Tessiori, who's not available, the Sogus. So definitely there's some injuries. I'm not saying that is kind of an excuse, but definitely some important players that
a lot of challenges in different aspects, not only it's a difficult time indeed. Let's take a look.
I just wanted to say again, it's just for the first 30 minutes, if you recall, so the game ended 5-0. I don't know if you want to pull up the stats here, but
sure, I can.
For the first 30 minutes, 𝐶ittadella were in the game, and even Dal Canto said after the match that they were in this match. They had, I think, 2 opportunities. If you remember, Pandolfi went through on goal, and then I believe it was Magrassi who had the header, and it was saved by Gori when the score was still 0-0. But then right after the 30th minute, Pio Esposito got the goal, and then just this is the third time that's happened where 𝐶ittadella go down 3-0 at halftime, and it wasn't 3-0 like from the get-go. It was 0-0 at the 30th minute, and then in 10 minutes it goes from 0-0 to 3-0, and I think that's what really is standing out this season. Just there's definitely a mentality problem with this side, and it just seems like they just crack a little too easily, and that's not what 𝐶ittadella has been about in these last few years when staying in Serie B. They've, no matter who they're playing against, no matter who they're up against, they'll always put in a fight and they'll always make it close, and they really never break apart like this until now. So that's kind of all I see. And there was no response in the second half. I thought we were going to see kind of a response we saw in Bari, but that didn't end up being the case, and it was just 5-0, I think, at the 70th minute. So I feel like they just wanted to call it a day, and so that ended like that.
I see what you're saying. Nicolas Straziotta, participating to our live, says, "Ciao Elia, good afternoon." Good afternoon to you as well, Nicolas, and thank you for being here with us. Indeed, you're right. There were at least 2 clear opportunities for 𝐶ittadella. I think first to score the 0-1 for 𝐶ittadella, and the other one would have kept you in the game. Probably it would have been the goal of the equalizer. But yeah, 𝐏𝐫𝐞 is in great shape, and he did very well even in previous games, and he proved himself to be very reliable. So go ahead.
I said to you, like Esposito bros are like they're really good. I have to be really impressed by both Espositos. They really, one had a brace, one had an assist, and the other had a goal. So, and also it was funny that on the same day, really at the same hour, all three Esposito brothers scored. One for Empoli, and then one for two for Spezia in that case. So that was really cool.
Right. And then there is another thing to point out, that all of the goals from Spezia came from palla inattiva, if I'm not mistaken. Francesco Pio Esposito at the 34th minute, it was from a corner kick. The own goal, was it from a corner kick or from a penalty outside the box?
I think it was from from a free kick, and then it hit off a Cittadella player actually, and then it hit the post, and then off Castrati and went into the goal. It was a weird goal. Yeah.
Then there was a penalty at the end, right before the end of the first half. Then Esposito again, Salvatore directly from a free kick outside the area, and then Wisniewski out of a corner kick. So we are little again from calci piazzati, and the first half ended 3-0 for the first half. For the first 30 minutes, you were definitely in the game, although Spezia had a clear handle on the game, trying to play soccer and all, but Cittadella, playing with quick counterattacks, was able to at least get close to score a couple of goals, but that didn't happen. And then, until the 2-0, you guys were in the game. They tried to recover some, but then it just fell all apart.
One more thing I want to add here is that a few days ago, the direttore generale, is that what you say in Italian? The sporting director, Stefano Marchetti for Cittadella, he actually told the press, like, he admitted that he told Gabrielli, the president, that he was willing to resign if he wanted to, which was quite crazy. He said to him, like, look, if you want me to step down, I'll step down. I have no problems with it. And that was very eye-opening, because he says he just wants the best for Cittadella, and
trying to do anything that's necessary to turn things around for Cittadella, of course.
But he's been here since 2005, I believe, and so this would I don't think he was going anywhere. And I think Gabrielli actually spoke today. I haven't read the whole newspaper yet, but the headline was like, he's not going anywhere. If we do go to Serie C, it's not going to be the end of the world, because Cittadella are still in a good financial state. They're in a still good structure, so they're not going to be like sent down all the way to Serie D, like some clubs have had the troubles in the past. They're still in a good financial state, which is a good foundation. Let's just
these are difficulties that you guys are facing on different aspects, but all on the pitch. Has nothing to do with the ownership or the management of the team. Indeed, I wanted to take a look at the standings, and then we can see and talk about the predictions we made on the previous episode. So as of right now, Sassuolo is still leading the table with 37 points. Look at how many wins, consecutive wins, unbelievable. Rullo compressore as of today. Then Pisa with 34 points, not all gained on the pitch at the expenses of Cittadella. And then Spezia at 33 points. So these are the first three positions. We see Cremonese losing some ground because Bari is coming up at the same amount of points with 24 points. Bari in much better shape. I don't know how many consecutive positive results they had. Please correct me if you know exactly the amount.
I think it's 14, because they lost the first two games of the season, and they haven't lost a game since. So it has to be 14.
Never again. Wow, nice.
Wow, it's
so good for them. And the only thing that I wanted to point out before continuing to scroll down is the little bit of gap that Spezia has on between the third and the fourth place. There are not 9 points dividing the third to the fourth place, highlighting only the fact that should there be a gap greater than 14 points, so at least 15 points, there won't be any playoffs, which is something that it's unlikely to happen, but these are the rules. And it's going to be interesting to see the next games of round 17, because Pisa is actually facing Bari. So being a Spezia fan, I don't actually know what to support. Like, do we want Bari to gain points on us and stop Pisa, or do we just want to increase the gap? We'll talk about it later. So scrolling down, Cesena is the 6th place together with Juve Stabia, two of the newly promoted team performing above all the expectations, although Cesena is coming from 2 consecutive losses. Then Palermo, Catanzaro, Brescia, Carrarese at 19 points, 10 and 11 place. Then Reggiana and Mantova, 12th and 13th place with 18 points. Then Modena, Sampdoria, and Salernitana, 14, 15, and 16 place, all of them with 17 points, as I said. Cosenza, Frosinone, both of them with 16 points, and at the bottom of the table with 13 points, Südtirol and Cittadella. Südtirol not looking good at all. 5 losses in the last 5 games, and probably even before that, they weren't doing that great.
And they
Jake,
sacked,
anything to add?
they sacked Zeffironi, I just
Right.
saw. And they replaced him with, oh no, I forgot who I could look it up real quick, but
Sure.
you know, they did sack Zeffironi, which was, you know, if you just recall, they hired him like a month ago, so pretty crazy. Yeah, the one thing I also kind of want to add is, you know, also like you just said, if there is a 14-point gap at the top between the 3rd and 4th place, there will be no playoffs, and the 3rd will go directly up to Serie A. And this is where this ruling for the Pisa Cittadella ruling, this could have implications at the bottom of the table and at the top of the table, because if you go to the top of the table right now, if that result had held 1-1, Spezia would be in 2nd place. And we're still in December right now, but come May, if the teams are within 1 point of each other, this could make the big difference. And you know, a result by the Ad Tavolino on the sports judging on the courts could really decide who goes to Serie A. And also at the bottom of the table, if Cittadella do get relegated by a single point or 2 points, this could be a real issue, because you know, I think that's why the club Cittadella were really trying to fight back on this result, because they knew the importance of a single point in this league. You know, I was pretty tired of, you know, hearing the case. I was kind of done with this case, because it's drained me a lot, and I just want to focus on the season. But you know, they do have a point. It's a really important aspect. So we'll see if that comes back to affect something. I think it will.
How much is going to matter?
Given how tight Serie B is, I think it will. But you know, we'll have to see.
And it has already some sort of an impact on the mentality of the players, because the situation could be slightly better for Cittadella and could be much more stressful for the Pisa players. But anyhow, this is it. We point out that Südtirol is now at the 3rd coach after not even half of the season, and the same situation is faced by Sampdoria, where the coach has been sacked, and Simplici is now sitting on the bench of Sampdoria right before the game in Genoa with Spezia. So the derby, one of the derbies of the Liguria. So it's going to be interesting. I was getting there. Yeah, it's going to be interesting for Spezia going to Genoa, facing Sampdoria, coached by one of the ex-coaches of the Eagles. So we'll talk more about it in a second. Let's go through the predictions we made on our previous round and see how many points we scored. Round 16, right here, I'll let you read as usual. So round 16th, here you go.
Yeah, 1-1-1-1-1 here. We both start with one result because Juve Stabia won. Modena Salernitana, I got this.
Sorry,
spot on
Jakes,
again.
if I interrupt you, because we didn't read the results. So Juve Stabia su Tirol won. You're absolutely correct. Juve Stabia won 2-1.
Yeah,
Sorry, just
that's
because we didn't actually read the results. So we're skipping a step today. Let's put it that way.
That's right. But Modena Salernitana 1-1. I got this correct. I did predict the draw, so that's another point for me. Bari Cesena, Bari getting another win. They're in, quietly good form right now. And Cesena is 2 back-to-back losses, 1-0 for Bari, but none of us get the point there. Caradese Palermo, another big win for Caradese. They are really becoming really good this season,
Unbelievable.
even though they started really badly. But once again, Palermo it's another one of those results where they beat an undefeated Spezia last weekend, and then they lose away to Caradese. So
I didn't want to interrupt, but seriously, Caradese Palermo 1-0 after the performance that Palermo just pulled up. Is that how you say? Showed with Spezia in Palermo. I did not see this coming. In fact, I predicted a very convinced 2, and you predicted an X, but none of us saw the victory of Caradese with this Palermo. So good on them.
Yeah, they just beat Palermo and Pisa at home. So it's really I guess that synthetic turf is really making the
difference.
yeah, but anyway, Mantova Pisa, I was confident that this could be an upset. Mantova has been playing really good at home. They did come back. It was 2-2. Pisa were winning 2-0, and then Mantova came back, and then Pisa kind of showing the mentality of a promoted team, getting the comeback 3-2 for Pisa. Elia, you get 1 point for this. I was close in this. It was a lot closer than it looked.
Yeah, I got as lucky as I got last week with Cosenza, I guess, at the last minute, or
Yeah. And speaking of Cosenza, they lose 1-0 to Frosinone. Frosinone, that's now 2 wins in a row, getting them out of bottom place. So that was kind of a surprise result. I thought Cosenza would get it, but 0 points for us there. Then we have Spezia Cittadella. We talked about it, 5-0 for Le Aquile, and we both agreed on this. So that is another point for each of us.
Back to Frosinone before we're moving on. Sorry. Yes, this win from Frosinone is going to be interesting, as it is the second consecutive win by Frosinone, and now they're going to be facing in the 17th round Sassuolo in Reggio Emilia, if I'm not mistaken. So actually, no, Frosinone Sassuolo. So Sassuolo will go to play in Frosinone after Frosinone is gaining some sort of shape. So the two relegated team from the Major League are going to be facing each other, with Frosinone gaining some traction. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. But Catanzaro Brescia, this was kind of a crazy game. Brescia scoring early, and then Catanzaro scoring in like the 99th minute to win the game. So 2-1 win for Catanzaro. Both of us get 0 points. So Elia, you were once again so close to getting the point there.
I know that Catanzaro this year has this pareggite. They can't do anything else by drawing. So actually, while I was doing the live reactions of Spezia Cittadella, I've already called the X on this, and then I saw, like, immediately after the live was over, that Catanzaro actually won, coming back because Brescia was leading, as you were saying. So it must have been a very exciting game for the Catanzaro fans.
Yeah, I was watching. I saw the highlights, and it, once again, it was just raining, pouring hard. So the field looked sloppy. It was just a crazy game, as you expect in this league. But moving on here, we have Cremonese Reggiana. Reggiana coming away 2-0 victory in Cremona. I don't think both of us did not see this coming. So once again, it's another 0 points for each of us. And then the final game, Sassuolo Sampdoria. This was I was confident in Sassuolo. Elia, I think you were hoping for a Sampdoria win.
Indeed.
But that's another point for me. And the final points tally here is 4-3. So I extend my lead by 1 point.
Yeah, I was able to catch up on you on the previous round. And I did just to show everybody how difficult it is to predict, I have an average of 3.75 points per week, per round, and you have an average of 3.8125. So if we divided the amount of points we scored by the rounds we played, this is our average. So it's not really easy to predict Serie B at all, but that's what makes it fun, I guess.
Yeah. Like what Antonio said, he doesn't know why. Antonio Palopoli, he doesn't know why.
Yeah. I don't know why you guys are doing it. Yeah. All right. So let's see what are our predictions for the upcoming round 17. Here it is. So the first game of the week. Yeah, sorry, I just wanted to point out that, yes, the victory of Reggiana in Cremona was another surprise result, as we pointed out, and allowed Cremona to detach now by 9 points from the third place. So that was an interesting result, and we'll see how it's going to play out for this Cremonese that doesn't seem to be able to keep the pace with the top three, although it is a team built to achieve the major league. But anyhow,
the next game for Cremonese is against Cittadella. So we'll see.
I hope you guys find the long missing home win. We'll see. So Pisa-Bari, difficult game to predict because Pisa is up there, but Bari is in great shape and they're playing in Pisa. So being a Spezia fan, do I want Pisa to keep on winning, or do I want Bari to slow down Pisa but potentially catch up on us? Spezia is going to play in Sampdoria, and although I don't sympathize for Sampdoria, and we actually have a live right after this live at 8:30 p.m. CET, because the Spezia fans are not able, they're being, how do you say, they don't allow them to go to Genoa. So we'll talk about that in the special episode of the upcoming live. After doing the pre-game chat with the journalist from Primo Canale, Fabio Nativo, I don't sympathize for Sampdoria, but I feel for them because they're in a very difficult situation. Sorry, Franco Nativo, not Fabio. Franco Nativo, Primo Canale. He explained that, the team financially is in trouble. They just lost 5-1 to Sampdoria. So for very personal reasons, I do hope that Bari is going to win with Pisa because I think that Spezia is going to win with Sampdoria and Genoa. So my prediction for Pisa-Bari is going to be a 2. Very long story.
Right. Wow. That would be a big win, and I think that would really put Bari as, serious contenders to finish in that top 4 at least. Yeah, like you said, Bari is just, they've, I think, quietly just been like one of the hottest teams right now. Not many people are talking. I mean, that's probably because they have a lot of draws, but that's kind of how the Serie B works. Pisa, they've been getting some wins. They've kind of slowed down. Like they're not the rolling machine like Sassuolo is with just win after win. They've drawn some games, they've lost some games. I just think, at home Pisa, I think this is where Bari is going to eventually lose their ground, and I definitely see a Pisa victory. So go ahead and put a 1. All
right.
A little bit of a safe pick there, but that's just what I think is going to happen.
Sure. I mean, hoping that Spezia continues to win, it would be nice to have even more gap potentially. And I was just, I want to hope that Spezia continues to win and that we can gain some point on Pisa, remaining with the same gap, at least with Bari. And we'll see what Cremonese does with Cittadella and Cittadella. The next game to predict, though, is Cesena Cosenza. I hope I checked, and it's actually Cesena Cosenza. So I got this one correctly because last week I made a mistake. So it's yours to predict first. Go ahead, Jake.
Okay, so we said how Cesena has been really good at home. They've lost 2 on the bounce, and those were both away to one. A Bari team, like we said, has been pretty good, and then a Frosinone team getting their first win at home, I believe. So I think 𝐏𝐶, even though I think we both agree that they're much better than the table says, they're still in the relegation playoffs, so they have to be careful. I could see this going either way, but my mind says that Cesena will pull through, so it's going to be another 1 for me.
All right, yeah, I can see that. So I do hope that we know exactly how Cesena is good, especially in the first half when the young team is so energized and they play so aggressively. But Alvini's guys also play a very with very high intensity. So it's going to be probably an exciting game to watch. And I do want to hope that Cosenza is not going to lose again, because they have only 16 points and they're sitting at the 17th place. So I want to hope that they're going at least not to lose. So my prediction is an X on this one.
Okay, that's fair.
Then we have Reggiana-Modena, which is an interesting game historically. And I really don't know what to predict on this one, because Reggiana has 18 points in 12th place. Modena is right behind with 17 points in 14th place. Reggiana just won with Cremonese, so they should be in some sort of shape after drawing 3 games, losing 1 and winning the most recent one, while Modena lost 1, won another, and drew the most recent 3. So probably this is another one of those games that has an X written all over the place. So I'm going to predict X on this one too.
Yeah, I was thinking the exact same thing.
I saw you nodding, yeah.
Yeah, this has an X written all over it. I can't really see anything else, even though Modena haven't lost since they've sacked Bisoli. But yeah, and go ahead and put an X there.
All right, so we agree on this one. And the next game is Frosinone-Sassuolo.
Okay, Grosso coming back to Frosinone, where the team he helped got promoted, and he's doing basically the same as with Sassuolo, just winning, just a machine there. I know Frosinone has won 2 straight, and I think they are kind of getting back into that rhythm. I just think Sassuolo is just too strong. I know this is probably a safe bet, and I don't think they're just going to win out until the end of the season. They're definitely going to drop some points. However, I think Sassuolo is going to win this again. So a 2 for me.
All right. Okay, for the sake, also to make a game more interesting, but also because, so Frosinone, a lot of young players, and they won the 2 most recent games. So I hope that if there is a team that can stop Sassuolo, although if you're looking at the table, they're not even comparable, maybe Frosinone is gaining some traction. I actually don't know how they achieved the wins that they achieved, but I want to hope that they can continue with this pace, also to keep the championship more alive. So astonishingly, I'm going to predict a 1 on this one.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. I mean, look, who predicted Cremonese to beat Palermo last week?
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, that could happen.
We'll see. Look, again, the next game is Südtirol-Mantova. I thought it was Sampdoria-Spezia. We'll get to that in a second, but it could be a very pivoting week, always, if Spezia continues to win in Genoa with Sampdoria, which is an extremely difficult game. So we'll talk about it in a second. The next game is Südtirol-Mantova. Südtirol that can't win a game in a very long time. When did they win last, Jake? Do you remember? Because here I see 5 losses out of the 5 most recent games. When was the win?
In October. In October, it was against Cosenza away. And since then, they have lost, what is this? Can I do math right now? 7 out of the last 8 they've lost.
Wow.
But they do have a new coach. They sacked Zaffaroni, and I still can't remember who they brought in.
It's all right.
But yeah, I believe it's your turn to pick.
Yeah. Anyhow, they are facing Mantova, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, and Mantova just lost the most recent game, draw 2 out of the last 5, 2 losses and 1 win. So I just think that Südtirol can't continue to lose. So safely and hopefully, I'm going to predict an X on this one.
Okay. Listen, I think Mantova is good enough to stay in this league. I do think, man, like I'm trying to. It's Castori, it's Fabrizio Castori,
okay.
who is the new coach of Südtirol. So that's his first game there. Remarkably, I'm gonna say a 1 for this. I think Südtirol is finally gonna break their rotten patch of form. I think it's the new manager. He's gonna light something up, and it's probably gonna be like a 1-0 game. So Südtirol getting a much needed win.
All right, interesting. Both of us did not predict Südtirol to continue to lose, so that's good. Good for them. We'll see. We wish them well. The next game, Sampdoria Spezia. What are your thoughts on this, Jake?
This is so. Correct me if I'm wrong. This is a derby, right? Or is it?
Yeah.
I remember they used to have some sort of gemellaggio or friendship between the two, but it's not there anymore, right?
No, exactly.
Okay. What was the reason for the break?
So first of all, it is considered a derby by us, but the real derby is between two teams of the same city. So Genoa and Sampdoria is the real derby. Spezia doesn't have a derby, so we take many point of reference to have derbies. Like being in the same region makes it a derby for us. But just like with Carrarese, with Pisa, with Reggiana, just because they are close to us geographically, although they are in different regions. So we have several derbies that are not really derbies. And answering your question about the relationship between the two fan bases, there was, I don't know if there was ever a gemellaggio, there was respect, but then once after, I don't know, many years, there was a chant by the Sampdoria fans against our supporters, basically, the Spezia fans, and that was the drop that made the two fan bases no longer be in harmony with one another. So it is going to be a very interesting game, not only for the sake of the championship, not only because it's a felt game being a sort of a derby, but now in light of what happened for the Derby della Lanterna, with all those issues, riots, let's say, between the two fans between the Genoa fans and the Sampdoria fans, they prohibited the Spezia fans to go to this event. So that's what's really upsetting the Popolo Bianco. And we'll see. So Spezia players will have one more reason to perform well for us, let's say. So there is a new coach, as we said. Simplic is now sitting on the bench of Sampdoria, and we'll see how he's going to start his new adventure. I think this is yours to predict first. So
okay, yeah. Sorry. I was just I
Don't
had
worry
to
about
do something real quick, but now I'm back. Yeah. So I mean, this is a partita tosta, like a
Indeed.
hot match, and Spezia obviously coming off a huge win against Cittadella. Obviously, I don't think it's going to be that much of a breeze, and Sampdoria, I think, having a new coach and kind of having extra motivation after that humbling loss against Sassuolo 5-1 at the Mappe Stadium. This is definitely a game where Spezia needs to be careful, because this could definitely end up being a second loss of the season. For this, though, I think they will get out of there with at least a point. So I'm going to say an X for this.
all right, fair enough. Yes, indeed, it is a
very difficult game for Spezia, I will say.
It is. I agree with that, and I wasn't as confident as I am currently until I spoke with Franco Nativo of Primo Canale on Monday night. He explained us that, of course, the defensive line of Sampdoria is very weak, and is not only the only issue that they have. He thinks that they actually didn't perform well with Sassuolo in the hope or probably we assume, we are speculating, to send away the coach. So there is some big disharmony that can be dealt with in less than a week by the new arrival of the coach. And with Spezia having such a strong offensive line this season, I think it's not going to be Spezia losing this game. It's not going to be Sampdoria winning this game, but I think it can only be Spezia losing it if something goes sour. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I do hope there are players can continue to perform as they've done in all the games, but in the one in Palermo. So for me, is optimistically a strong one that, of course, can be proven wrong. So we'll see. It is a difficult game indeed.
Yeah.
The next game is... Sorry, go ahead.
So you do think Spezia is going to get their second defeat of the season?
Oh, sorry. Sampdoria, sorry. No, sorry, this is a 2. Sorry, I apologize. For me, it's a very strong 2. Yeah.
Yeah, I was confused because you were like, saying you were very confident, and then you picked a 1. I was like, what?
Thank you for the correction. Indeed. No. We're in Liguria, so Liguria is ours. No, it was an honest mistake. Thank you for catching it. Thank you. So the next game is Brescia-Carrarese. So Brescia 10th place with 19 points, exactly like Carrarese, 19 points at the 11th place, and Brescia just lost with Catanzaro that went ahead of them with 20 points at this point, stopping the long consecutive draws. And
a new coach for Brescia. Another new coach.
That too.
Visoli is now the head of the
Okay. Wow, Serie B is really something. It's like a soap opera, man.
It's crazy.
Brescia-Carrarese. Brescia has to win this one. So not to predict an X, I'm just going to throw that a 1 and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think, I don't know how Visoli is going to turn this around like really quickly. I definitely agree that Brescia is in desperate need of a win. Carrarese has just been playing really good, above expectations, I think, out of all of us. So this is either going to be an X or a 1, and I don't know what to choose. I think to disagree with you, I might say an X, but I definitely could also see Brescia winning this. So I'll say 1. I don't like to agree, but yeah, I'll say 1.
All right, so you predicted first Sampdoria, Spezia. No, it's yours to predict even Cittadella Cremonese. So you start. Cittadella Cremonese, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, as we know, the struggle continues for Cittadella at home. They're playing a Cremonese side much stronger on paper. Even though they've shown some weaknesses, it's not been the most straightforward season for them. They are still one of the best. I've already been doing some research on this. It's 8 straight games at home against Cremonese where Cittadella has not beaten them. And also Stropa, the coach of Cremonese, he's won 5 of his last 5 against Cittadella, both with Cremonese and with Monza a few seasons ago. So definitely this is kind of like a taboo, as they say in Italian. So I do think there is going to be some sort of reaction from this game, kind of like what happened against Cosenza right after the 6-1 defeat against Sassuolo. They played better in that game after that. I'm just given the home form for Cittadella, just given the amount of quality on the Cremonese side, I'm gonna see a 2 in this. So I'll say Cremonese victory. It's probably not going to be as bad as the Spezia loss, but they'll probably put up a good fight. I just think Cremonese will just be too much for the Granata.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, on paper, they are a team built to achieve Serie A straight up, not even going through the playoffs. And Cittadella is not in a good spot mentality-wise. You did win one of the the 5th game of the most recent 5. So that you won 1 game, then lost 2, draw 1, and then lost the most recent one with Spezia. I just wish you guys can turn things around, but Cremonese is going to be a tough one. How about I predict another X? I wish
I'd
you
take
guys
that.
well.
Yeah, that'd be okay. So
Yeah,
X.
I'll give you an X and we'll see what happens, guys. You got my positive vibes on your side, I promise you.
Thank you.
The next game is Palermo-Catanzaro. Palermo coming from the loss with Carrarese, and Catanzaro catching up on Brescia that was leading 1-0, and then Catanzaro won 2-1. So they're close. Palermo is in 8th place with 21 points. Catanzaro is in 9th place with 20 points. So very like in 3 points, we got so many teams. Is awesome. Mentality-wise, Catanzaro is launched yet again. Only 3 wins, 11 draws, and only 2 losses this season. And Palermo is just too unpredictable, even performances-wise, to predict any result of theirs. So they're playing in Palermo. I don't know what is the situation with the fans, because before the game with Spezia, there was some diatriba, like there wasn't very good harmony. So I think that Catanzaro is not going to lose in Palermo. If it's going to be an X or if it's going to be a 2, we'll have to find out. But I predicted so many X's already that I'm going to be bold, and I'm going to predict that Catanzaro is going to win this one. It's ridiculous to say if you think about it, but I'm going to predict a 2.
Well, they did beat them last year at the Barbera, so definitely possible. I'm gonna predict an X because I can't trust Palermo right now, and Catanzaro has just been having so many draws. They're like another team that hasn't lost in a while, or only has like 1 loss in a few games. So I could see an X in this.
All right. The last game to predict is for round 17th of Serie B is Salernitana-Juve Stabia. Another derby here. So you're up, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even realize, these teams are really close in geographically. So this is technically a derby, very close to each other. I see another X in this. I see, Southern. It's like I said, a derby, so it's not going to be, I think a wide open game. I think both teams are going to play kind of, a little conservatively. So I'd say another draw in this.
All right. Yeah, I put an X for you there as soon as you said it. Juve Stabia comes from 3 draws, 1 loss, and 1 win. Salernitana is really struggling being a newly relegated team. So I think they're going to play their hearts out, and the supporters are really going to set them up during the week. Salernitana comes from a most recent draw, and the most recent 5 games, they lost 2, draw 2, and won 1. So I want to think that Salernitana, probably being a better equipped team with more seasoned players and playing at home, is going to have more spirit, more drive to win this one. So it's a 1 for me, and we'll see. Okay. All right, this concludes the predictions for round 17, and we'll find out how we did in the next episode of Speaking Serie B. And we do invite you to follow us on our various other social media. You can find us on YouTube. Both of us have a YouTube channel. And you can find me as Elia the Italian Guy, or as SPEZIato for the sport-related content on TikTok and Instagram. And Jake.
Yes, you could find me, as always, at 𝐏𝐵𝐞-𝐸 on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and as well as 𝐏𝐵𝐞-𝐸.com for articles, post-game, pre-game, all that stuff. You could find it there. And also just keep on the lookout for at 𝐷_Veneto_Goal, because I will be, I'm writing kind of like a article a week. It's not like a strict schedule, but I am starting a new editorial writer position there. So if you want to improve your Italian like me, go follow, go check out 𝐷_Veneto_Goal.it, and you'll see some articles written by me about Cittadella.
Nice. Congratulations, Jake. So before closing this episode and inviting you to follow us next Wednesday at 7 p.m. CET, please remind us what happened this week about the LA Galaxy, and then I'll let you close the episode.
Yeah, so if you look over my shoulder right there, LA Galaxy, the other live, I was wearing a LA Galaxy shirt. That's because, as someone from Los Angeles and someone who was following the Galaxy since I was very young, they are my team, my local team, and so I've been following them. They, for the first time in 10 years, for the first time since 2014, they won the MLS Cup, their first trophy, their first major trophy in 10 years. So it was a really special moment for me. So last weekend, it was a pretty big weekend because you had the Galaxy winning and then Cittadella losing, another historic loss. So it's been a kind of a roller coaster of a weekend, but just that was a really special moment. And I told Elia that was basically like the equivalent of Spezia being promoted to Serie A for the first time.
Indeed.
That's like emotion you felt when you win that. So it's I try to put it in Spezia terms or Cittadella terms.
Of course, to give us a better perspective, a better point to understand the situation. Congratulations! I just wanted to end it with some positive vibes in light of this great success.
That's right. It was a pretty the Cittadella result didn't go the way, but the Galaxy winning, it was a pretty special moment. So happy about that, and hopefully after that it could spark something for Cittadella, who's really in need of something,
Right. We'll find out, always here next Wednesday at 7 p.m. CET, and we'll be speaking Serie B.